So when I started out with SIF investments, the concept was, yes, I was a financial planner back in the 90s, and I realized in real estate, as we know, no fault of the system, but realtors are transactional. They may say they're not, but their role is to help you buy or sell a piece of property. That's it. Maximize the sale price, minimize the purchase price. After that, it's not anyone's responsibility to kind of manage performance. So the two type of investors that we work with are the conventional investor, whether they own a rental home, an apartment building, or a commercial property. So that's purely an investment property. We can help them exchange that into another like-kind property. And then the second is what I would call an accidental landlord or accidental investment property owner, because everyone, as you know, in the Bay Area, who owns a home has a highly appreciated home, and that equity is just sitting in there doing nothing. So what we do is we help unlock that equity, defer taxes in all that appreciation in that primary residence, and create income in retirement. And so that's the second type, which is becoming more and more common as people retire and as my client base ages also. Unfortunately, there's so much misinformation there and opportunity that I realize that all these owners of real estate here in the Bay Area, where I started the SIF investments, have property that are underperforming. Why? Because the market goes up in value. Appreciation's great over time. I'm not judging it on 1 year, 2 years. Over time, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, property has went up. There's rent control. The rents don't keep up. So how I help clients, Brad, is a really good example. I'm going to take a simple example right here. We had pretty recently a single-family home that was renting for $6,300 up in Marin County, Corte Madera. Client was doing well, thought that $6,300 was great. Well, they're in their mid-60s. Met with them. This was referred from a financial planning firm. We went from $6,300, it was close to about a $2 million sale, to over $12,000 of income. So almost double. We did this through, the first step was realizing their age, their net worth. This was pretty easy because I'm working through a planner. We're looking through the risk profile. This couple didn't want to manage any more property. So even if we can go from a single family home to a 4-unit property in Sacramento, that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted something simple, not having to manage with a high income or higher income. So we bought, not sexy, but a Dollar General outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, and we almost doubled their rental income. In that process, we don't act as a realtor. When we sell the Corte Madera home, after we identified we can increase the income, 90+%, we interview 2 or 3 realtors. They compete for the business on the listing. Okay? We will manage that process to make sure that we maximize the sale price on that existing property and make sure that we fit the guidelines of the timelines in the 1031 exchange, which we're doing. During that time period, we're getting to know the clients, educating. Does it make sense for them to buy an apartment building? Nope, they didn't want that. Does it make sense for them to buy a Delaware statutory trust fund, which is somewhat of a mutual fund with real estate as the main holding? Nope, because it's not very liquid. So we came down to, through analysis and getting to know our clients, a triple net commercial property would probably be the best fit. And so we got a really high return, almost doubled their income, worked with a broker here locally that knows the market out there very well and has brokers that we partnered with back in Ohio, closed on that property. They have, and everything was over the course of 4 months. It wasn't a short period, but we helped them sell, helped them find replacement property, walk through the 45-day, 180-day timeline on the exchange, obviously helped them open up an account so the money rolled in from the Marin County home into a 1031 account so the IRS knows that this is a 1031 exchange and it's not taxable. And then at the end of the road, now we're in month 2, they have about close to $6,000 more income each month. And that's $72,000 of more income a year. invest that over the course of 10 years, simple math, it's probably close to $1 million if you invest that difference back into the stock market. So these are how we work with clients. We don't act as realtors on either side. We purely consult through the process, and bingo, here's what we came up with. So we try to make it easy for you financial planners. It's people ask, well, what do I need to do to introduce my clients? So if we take away this and look at the properties, if you refer those kinds of properties, virtually their single family home, the residence that they live in, vacation home, or an investment property, there's no obligation. What we want to do is give you the ability to look at their options on deferring taxes or even cashing out on a property. Deferring taxes, if it makes sense to do an exchange, cash out. How do we utilize, we as partners together, all this equity, 40% or more, and help your clients retire sooner and richer, right? Because at the end of the day, you may be managing $1 million, $2 million of their money in the stock market. They entrust you to manage it so they know at the end of the rainbow that they have a high likelihood based on their goals to have an X amount of dollars in retirement by you helping them plan. What we want to do is take that 40% or more of their net worth that is kind of forgotten, no fault of yours, and analyze all that equity. It's crazy to think, but can we downsize their home? Maybe they're living above their means. Can we look at how to convert the vacation home that seemed like a great idea? Now that your clients are empty nesters, utilizing that $1 million of equity in that property to generate income so they can retire sooner and richer. And then the obvious one is investment properties. They're 2-unit, they're 4-unit property, they're commercial property. Most likely what we found is if they've owned those properties in the Bay Area for 10 plus years, we can increase their rental income significantly. Like I said, on average 60% or more. The key though is not say if we go with, we can increase it $50,000 a year. That sounds great. We've helped increase. It's not the 50,000. It's the 50,000 for the duration of that hold, for the 20 years. And maybe they could have done that 10 years ago. But how would I have met them? I need your help, really. And so we have all these underperforming assets, underperforming properties. And by partnering with, planners like you, we can make a real difference, huge difference. It's phenomenal where all this money is left on the table. This is not a salesmanship saying, wow, we can turn this into that. It's simply because they've been ignored. These pieces of property, no one's been looking at the primary residence, the vacation homes, the investment properties and saying, oh my gosh, how do we execute on these, strategize, defer the taxes, include it in the plan, and have our clients retire sooner and richer? So this is how we can work together. Send us those property addresses, the values. We have a questionnaire that we have for all of the types of properties that we can send to you with basic questions so we can start and see these properties. There's no obligation. Many of the planners who refer us, their clients, we don't do anything with. It's not the right time. Maybe it's in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. But if they don't know their options, like I was saying, for example, and they're losing out on $50,000 a year, for example, that's not just 1 year. That's every year. So it could be millions of dollars of cash flow. So if you own a highly appreciated property, whether that's your primary residence or an investment property, and that investment property could be, single family home, apartment building, commercial property. If you own these types of properties in the Bay Area, let us look at those properties and we can give you a complimentary consultation on how well they're performing, how well the cash flow is, how much equity you have in your property. We can give you analysis of how much they're worth. Obviously, what you paid for it, but we can give you a picture of, is it working? Are your properties working well for you? Does it make sense for you to keep them, hold them, refinance them, or do a 1031 exchange? Can we help you exchange into other properties that can help you retire sooner or richer? So we can give you a complimentary consultation, 30-minute consultation on your property or properties. We're not realtors, we're purely consultants, fee-based since 2002. There's no obligation, we just want to make sure that you're getting the best out of your properties.